G'day, everybody! And another Anthrocon is through. We are now in the middle of July and middle of the year, and, well, pleasantly surprised a little bit that despite what happened with Furry Weekend Atlanta and the sort of hindrance to growth, it seems like Anthrocon did not actually have any problems whatsoever. In fact, they were able to sell out of tickets, and basically, for the first time, like they had sold out of tickets that they were going to release. So that means that they did it. They're still number one, baby. And on top of that, they've actually been the first convention to reach 200. 200. Yeah, 200. 200 hundreds. Yeah, that's it. 200 hundreds. That's what I meant to say. Yes, 200 hundreds. So it's 200 hundreds. Oh, okay. No one says 200 hundreds. 20,000. Okay, 20,000. Over 20,000 people attended. I'm not cutting that. Lean into my mistakes. So, Anthrocon, as you can see, despite sort of tapering off last year, decided to basically jump up again. I think there was a lot of people who were looking forward to it this year. And it does look like, and I think even on the local scene, that a lot of people were able to jump in because of Anthrocon Day. Maybe it was the Anthrocon Day that did it. Maybe the city gave them the bump they needed. But as you can see, Midwest Fur Fest is a projection still. We don't know what their actual amounts are going to be, but they're projected to only be at like the low 17,000s this year. But as you can see here, it makes me think of, you can kind of see like there's a little shape that's made between the Furry Weekend Atlanta and the Anthrocon. And it's one that people in the financial spaces might be familiar with, but the letter K. A quote-unquote K-shaped economy is just a fancy way of saying like the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. There's a lot of situations happening right now where there is a ton of things are getting tougher out there. Gas prices have gone up, fuel prices have gone up, transportation prices have gone up, everything is going up. And so like the people who are on the good side of the economy are doing well, and the people who are not are doing worse, even more so than usual. Like usually it's bad, it's just not getting any better. And it makes me wonder if that is a coincidence. Why does it keep doing that? If that's just a coincidence, right? And if that's just a coincidence, or if that is a situation where that is going to be more of a standard kind of going forward, that only the largest furry conventions will continue to attract groups of people, but like the ones that are not so well off are going to have trouble attracting folks. The smaller conventions are going to have trouble in growth because people are kind of sacrificing it. I'm apparently going to be floating today, so that we're just going to have to deal with that. And anyway, so yeah, it's kind of a cool thing. The Anthrocon for its 20th year in quote unquote 20th year in Pittsburgh, 20th year since they arrived at Pittsburgh. I kind of find it funny how pedantic a lot of people are being about things. We did there was one article that indicated Eberwolf indicated in their article that that it's technically the 18th year that it was held in Pittsburgh because we had 2 years off because of COVID. That's a bit pedantic. I think if everyone's calling it the 20th and even Pittsburgh is calling it the 20th, we'll call it the 20th. It's fine. But the funny thing is that they hit the 20,000, past the 20,000 for that. I think they stopped it at that. I think they did plan to stop the attendance rate there because I think that from the sounds of it, their staff is overworked and it's getting even worse. And like they need people to help out. So if you are willing to volunteer, please do so. And thank you for your service. It's been getting more challenging to put on larger shows like that, and the people who run those get very, or work very hard to put on things like that. And this year was certainly no slouch, especially since one of the big stories out of this particular convention was that they did not have the furry parade this year, and they didn't have the block party, which happens outside in the city. And the big reason that didn't happen is because it was so hot. And not just because the furries were there. It was just hot everywhere in the Northeast over the weekend, over that particular 4th of July weekend. And it was so hot that they decided to cancel, particularly because of the wet bulb temperature. It was, slated to be in the, in the lower 90s ish, but with the humidity at about 70%, the quote unquote wet bulb temperature was in the 110s. So because of that amount of heat, going around a city block in a fursuit, probably not going to be the smartest of ideas. I read an article that was written by one of our writers here at Flera, and very thankfully there was somebody on the ground who wrote an article there, and you can find the link to that in the description below. They were able to get a good sort of feel on the ground for things. A lot of furries, particularly, were very grateful and very understanding about the cancellation of the event, basically because of the heat. But there was at least one person who was very disappointed, and that one person, when you read their story in the background of why they were disappointed, it was very much clear sunk cost fallacy. Basically, they were a cosplayer and they had spent about $300 on a cosplay that they really wanted to show off at Anthrocon, and they were frustrated that the parade was canceled. And they used that adults can decide what adults should do. But there's a difference between adults deciding what to do and feeling peer pressured into doing something because an organization is saying that this thing is happening, right? A lot of people, even if you don't feel like fursuiting, if you're there and there's a fursuit parade, you might go, well, I should do the parade because it's a big thing. So people might decide that that's a signal, and if that's a signal, then that's a liability to the convention, first off. And second off, it's it isn't a good decision if it's 113 effective degrees out to wear thing, especially since it's a wet heat and you're inside of your little, I'm back sitting down in a proper position. But if you are, if it's 113, you're going to sweat inside that thing. It's probably going to do damage to the inside of your costume to that point if you don't pass out from heat exhaustion or heat stroke. People have heat exhaustion and can have heat exhaustion just from normal, because it's July. It's freaking July, and you're wearing a fursuit and walking around an inner city in the heat bubble, as it were. It's not uncommon for people to have heat problems. In fact, the article that I wrote back in 2015, which had the very first year that Anthrocon had its parade go outside, I did note that one person had to be pulled away from the parade entirely, even before it started, when they were just in the gathering room. And they had overheated, and they had to have an EMS person come over and look at them, and so it's not unheard of to have people push themselves too hard, even in the normal circumstances. And that I don't remember what the temperature was that year. It was probably in the high 80s, I would say, but it was not particularly. It wasn't particularly humid. I think because I remember that, and I wrote about it, and I remember it was that year that the Thursday before the convention in 2015 it rained like a monsoon. It was like whoosh, and it's like got it all out of its system. So by the time that like Saturday rolled around, there wasn't that much humidity in the air, thankfully, and it cooled it off a little bit. So it was definitely not anything dangerous. I can definitely see why they canceled it. I absolutely am not of the mind of it. One interesting thing that person who was kind of frustrated about it being canceled brought up was, why don't we have, why don't we, why do we, they felt like they had wasted their ticket of their time because they wanted to come down there in costume and go to the parade, and that was like their big thing. But at the end of the day, the whole reason for buying a ticket is to rent the space out, irregardless of what events happen or not. But he was like, well, why don't they separate out the event from the parade? And that's an interesting thought, especially, but I don't think that would be implemented in the way that the original speaker would intend it to. They're like, why don't they have like other prices for like other activities that are like add-ons or something? I think they're thinking of a discount for the main ticket and then adding it on, and then like it would equal the old price. But I don't think if they would go that direction, then that's what would happen. It would be, here's your ticket at the door, here's an add-on, right? Now, add-ons are tricky in that it's logistics, and there's a lot of logistics, so you'd have to like make sure that the person has like a ticket for being in the parade or whatnot. So you're saying like, well, in order to be in the parade, they're going to pay an extra $1 or so or extra money to be part of the parade. Obviously, that would go over well like a lead balloon. Obviously, you're thinking about it right now. Obviously, the person who's thinking about it right now is like, it's like, well, wouldn't it be nice if I could get a refund for like the parade cost? But it's like, if there was going to be a parade cost, it would be on top of whatever ticket price you're doing. Let's just face facts. Because they're not accounting for ticket prices in that. Now, I don't know how much. Like, I don't think there's any cost savings to the convention for not running the parade or whatnot. I don't think there's that much cost savings there. But if there is extra cost for running the parade, and they wanted to find a way to like lower the amount of people participating in the parade, making it pay to participate certainly would be a way to do it. Though obviously that could cause some frustrations, I'm sure. It's like, and by the way, I mean, like, from a capitalist perspective, oh yes, that's the perfect idea. Think about it. The people who are running in this parade have fursuits. And that means that they have disposable income that they had to make the fursuits, which means if they want to participate in the parade, and since they had enough money to buy a fursuit, they should have enough money to buy a ticket to participate in the fursuit parade. Don't you think? Obviously, if this person wasn't like suffering from some cost fallacy syndrome of like, I spent $300 on a costume and I'm frustrated that I can't participate in the convention or participate in the parade, like he would have thought it through and meant like, don't give them permission to do that. Like, are you crazy? They'll go like, oh, more money? Sure. Oh, why did you say so? Hey, we'll even give this guy full credit. Look at him over here. Look at him over here telling you that you want to spend more money on participating in the fursuit parade. Yes, it's all him. Yeah, it's all him. Wasn't us at the board. Wasn't our idea. It's their idea. Why would you put yourself in that position, man? Anyway, but like, if Anthrocon is trying to find a way to curtail the amount of people participating in the fursuit parade, adding an additional add-on charge would definitely be a way to do it. Then you wouldn't have to argue about like costume like things and stuff like that. It's just like, it's because that's what they did last year. They said like no poodling or no like non-furry costumes. Because like they were trying, their primary objective wasn't actually just to be discriminatory towards the people wearing the suits. No, it was the primary objective was to shorten the parade because it's getting too long. Because the problem is like you can only hold the audience in a, standing in a, like, behind a barrier for so long before they get bored, so they're like trying to keep it from being too long. So like an hour, like over like 2 hours is too long. Like, and the line's getting that long, right? The amount of fursuiters, coming to Anthrocon every year is that high. So, thanks for the suggestion. They'll take it into account, I'm sure, and so will their accountants. Thanks for your sunk cost fallacy by making you say something like that. I'm sure you'll appreciate it next year when they do add a surcharge to the parade. It doesn't mind me none. Like, doesn't bother me none. Like, I've kind of like I don't go to large conventions anymore. It's not kind of my scene. And I've done my Anthrocon run, and I want other people to experience it and to enjoy it. Because it's like I've had my time in there, and like it was fun. But 4th of July weekend is a busy weekend. It's got other things to do, and as I said, I have family that might not be around forever. So, that being said, that's it for this episode, I believe. I can't think that there was anything else too much to cover, but I would definitely give the article, the article in the link in the description to read for a review of Anthrocon. I was pleasantly surprised that somebody had written a full-on review of the convention, and that they had gone there and done it, and I very much appreciate that. It's very much interesting that like there's about like 4 or 5 different reviews of Anthrocon for different years, and every one of them is written by somebody different, which is fascinating to me. It's like never the same person twice writes an Anthrocon review. Maybe they'll break that tradition next year. Who knows? Hopefully. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching today, and hope you guys enjoy yourself. Kick that like, kick a subscribe button, kick a comment in the comment section. Do you think MFF will reach 20,000 this year? I don't. Or 200 hundreds this year? 200 hundreds? Yes. No, I don't think they will. I think they'll reach 170 hundreds. Yeah, they'll definitely reach 170 hundreds for sure. Have a good one, everyone.